Hey, welcome to episode of Chad's Beer Reviews. Craig's joining us again.
Howdy.
It's been about a month since your last visit, I guess.
Yep.
So we're doing Sierra Nevada's 30th anniversary Charlie, Fred, and Ken's Bock. It's an Imperial Helles Bock. It's 8.3 ABV. That's very orange for a lager. Like I just had the Coney Island Sword Swallow, which is also an Imperial lager, and it was more just straight up pale. But this is quite dark orange. Very, very effervescent.
Yeah, it's like yield sign orange.
Yeah, children crossing orange.
Yeah, exactly. Smells good too.
Yeah, I can smell, you can smell, first thing I can smell is I can tell this is a lager.
Yeah, it's got that.
This is a lager aroma.
Got a little too close there.
Not inhale it. I get, there's some kind of a lemon or orange peel type thing in there.
Sort of a rounded orange. You know, it's not.
It's almost like powdered tang.
Yeah, it's not like super citrus. It's not like you're smelling an orange, but it's like.
Yeah, it's not like an IPA orange. It's. There's something else in there. Some kind of flowers or something kind of a lighter white kind of flower.
Maybe a little honey.
Yeah. Kind of like the Ithaca alfalfa we did.
Yeah.
A little honey in it.
Not as sort of Belgian-y funky as that alfalfa, but it's got that.
Yeah.
It's like a sweet. It's like a generically sweet smell.
Yeah. Let's see how it compares to the taste. Cheers.
Cheers.
Wow. There's a lot of honey in that. A lot of, maybe not honey, but sweetness for sure.
Yeah. There's a little hint of alcohol in there, though. You said this is what, about 8.5?
Mm-hmm.
I'm getting just
8.3.
Just a little bit, sort of like when I was holding it in my mouth, and the fumes were going back down my throat and into my nose. I was getting a little bit of alcoholic, not in not a bad way either.
So I get kind of like a honey sweetness up front. Kind of like a caramel malt, kind of lighter malts up front. A little bit of biscuity, kind of dry bitterness through the middle and the back end. Finish is pretty clean. It's got kind of like a cold mouthfeel.
Mm-hmm.
Well, plus we're drinking it cold.
There's a weight to it though too. You know, there's sort of a when you swallow it, you can still kind of feel it in your mouth.
Mm-hmm.
It's hard to describe how what I would say. It's it's almost thick.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
It's definitely noticeably thick for a lager. If I wouldn't know what I was drinking, I would just think it was some kind of ale.
It actually reminds me, which was another, I had mentioned it before we started filming too, was the Andy Gator by Abita. Yeah. It actually reminds me, I like this better than the Andy Gator, but, and they were both Helles Bocks too, so.
Yeah.
Or it was a Helles Bock too. Not hoppy at all.
Not hoppy per se, but there's definitely some bitterness in there.
Yeah, it's bitter, but I'm not getting I'm not getting the hop flavor itself.
Right.
There's some bitterness, but.
Yeah, I'd probably estimate the IBUs in the 30s or 40s. It's not like that saison kind of dryness though, because there is actual kind of plenty of sweetness on here actually. Just lots of honey and caramel throughout almost the whole thing. It's one of the sweetest lagers I've ever had, if not the sweetest.
Yeah, there's a good bit of sweetness in that.
Yeah. It's nice that it's maintaining the bubbliness.
Yeah, it's got a good bit of fizz to it, and it's not. But it's not. It doesn't seem like it's a heavily carbonated beer when you drink it.
The first, I think when we first poured it, it was the first few, I was getting the CO2 stuck in the throat. Now, it's not. The drinkability on this is kind of halfway between, undrinkable and Bud Light, somewhere between there.
Somewhere between the two.
Yeah, because it started
Would
out.
sand be undrinkable?
Yeah. Well, I mean, as far as let's say a 15% barley wine. And,
yeah.
Something it's not a sipper. It's not sluggable either. I notice I'm only taking this one swig at a time and like just kind of one sip at a time. I really like that honey sweetness in there. The kind of golden lollipop, not so much. The drinkability, I wish it had been like a little more smooth or refreshing. I would not call this a refreshing beer. It's plenty flavorful though.
I think it's too sweet to be refreshing.
Yeah, and it's at least like that sweet kind of cloying aftertaste. Like I said, I think this is probably one of the sweetest, if not the sweetest lager I've ever had. I think I'd give this. I'm kind of on the border between a 7 and 8, but.
Yeah, I would agree. I would say 7 or 8 on that.
Yeah, I mean, I think I'm gonna go 7. I think maybe fresh spanking new with the fresh hops, it'd be like an 8 or a 9. But for this particular tasting right now in time, this is a 7 for me, like a B.
Yeah.
Not even like a B plus, but.
Just a good solid B.
So that's what you're going with 7 too? Or?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a good beer, but it does, and I don't mind a sweet beer, but when you get down to this level on a beer that's this sweet,
yeah,
you start going, it starts in your tongue and it's in your mouth, and
yeah.
it's just it gets a little tough to get the whole thing down.
Yeah.
But fairly good all around. Like I would say, you're right, a good solid beer.
I think the effervescence helps with that sweetness. It kind of acts as a palate cleanser.
Yeah.
I almost said palate penzer. Well, I guess that about wraps it up for the Sierra Nevada 30th anniversary Charlie, Fred, and Ken's Bock, Imperial Helles Bock. Thanks to Craig of drinkdrank1.blogspot.com for coming over and helping me kill this bottle.
Palate penzer. That was good.
We will see you guys next time.
See ya.
Cheers.